quality of our life for our residents.
Whereas Oklahoma
and is
lakes and
crucial
reservoirs
to
improve
protect
the
them
quality
for
of our
future
life for our
generations
residents,
and is crucial to protect
whereas
them
the
for
Lake
future
Thunderbird
generations.
Watershed Alliance
was established
whereas
in
the
2020
Lake Thunderbird
to work
Watershed Alliance
collaboratively
was
with
established in
residents,
2020
communities, and
to
other
work
stakeholders
collaboratively
to protect the
with
water
residents,
quality and the
communities,
quantity
and
of
other
Lake
stakeholders.
Thunderbird. To protect the water quality and the
also
quantity
serves as
of
a
Lake
clearinghouse
Thunderbird.
for information
LTWA
about Lake Thunderbird,
also serves as a
including its
clearinghouse
uses,
for information
recreational activities,
about Lake
water
quality
quality
including
improvement
its
projects,
uses, and
recreational
associated
activities,
research,
water quality
and educational
improvement
projects,
materials.
and associated
Whereas
research and
LTWA
educational
is working in
materials.
cooperation with a wide
Whereas
variety of partners,
LTWA is
including
working in
Lake
cooperation
Thunderbird
with a
State
wide
Park,
variety
Thunderbird
of
Sailing Club,
partners,
including
Del
Lake
City
Thunderbird
and
State
other
Park,
surrounding
Thunderbird
cities
Sailing Club,
to educate the
City of
public
Del
about
City,
the lake
and other surrounding cities to educate the public about the lake and its watershed. Now therefore I, Floyd Eason, Mayor of the City of Del City, do hereby proclaim July 2023 as Lakes Appreciation Month and the week of July 24th as Love Your Lake Week in Del City, Oklahoma, and invite all citizens to join me in this special observance. Signed, Floyd Eason, Mayor, City of Del City. We are very fortunate with our water supply, and we are blessed with abundant water in Del City. We've never had water rationing in Del City. A little bit of trivia. Move on to item number 4 on the agenda. It's public and council input. Is there anybody that would like to address the council on non-agenda items? Probably step right up to the podium, state your name and address for the clerk.
Just go ahead and address. Cynthia Wiley, W-I-L-E-Y. I need to get my address.
Pull that microphone down so we can get the people at home wouldn't be able to hear you without the microphone.
Sorry.
No problem.
Cynthia Wiley. You got it? Need to put the address or?
Address.
3321 Southeast 22nd Street. Oh, I want to thank everyone on the council for being on there because I know that's an important job for our city. I have texted Pam recently because the first Monday of June, I took a friend to the VA. And on the way back, I asked her if she needed to go anywhere else. She said, yes, Del City to pay a bill. And I went, oh, no problem. So I'm coming down Martin Luther, which is Old Eastern, to Reno. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go east to the service road on the west side of I-40, up to the stop sign and to Townsend and come that way. So I did, and I turned off Reno onto the service road, was going along, and all of a sudden there was this huge hole. And I went, oh my gosh, and I moved over. And before I got to that first stop sign, you know how everybody exits off I-40, there's a stop sign. Before I even got to that stop sign, my tire light came on. And I went, not a good thing. Dorothy goes, what's wrong? And I said, my tire light just came on. So I got her to Townsend, got her to here. She came and paid her bill. And in the meantime, I was looking at my tire, listening for air or something. There was like a little gash about that big is all. But I mean, the air was coming out fast. So by the time she got it back in my car and I got her like within walking distance to her house from here, my tire was flat. So I kept putting it off to take a picture of whatever I hit. So last week I parked at the 7-Eleven there on Scott Street and proceeded to walk down to take a picture. And of course I'm getting there and I'm going, oh no, it's already been filled up. So I took a picture of it, and then on my way back there was like 3 barrels sitting there where the old service station used to be. And I thought, somebody's dumping barrels or something. So I took a picture of that too. Now my question is that Del City or is that Oklahoma City side?
That's Del. Oh, I'm sorry.
I did have JD to go out and drive it today, and he can take his findings.
So we're going to double check a couple of things. You're in a very unique spot because that's right on the cusp of us in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
But Tinker Diagonal is also under the control of ODOT because ODOT, it's an off ramp to the, it's a what do we call that? I can't think of the term.
Well, you
Not
know, I'm on the
interstate road, but there's a
yeah.
word for it there.
service road.
Thank you, service road. I
Yeah.
couldn't think of it, thank you.
Yeah.
So I have already called that into ODOT to find out where the actual process will lie, and we'll let you know. If you want to have a tort claim, you can get with Joe here afterward,
Oh,
and he can at least get you the information, so if it's not with us, we can still have the documentation available sooner rather than later, that way we can stamp it in. And if it's not us, then you can pass it to ODOT or Oklahoma City as needed, but at least you have it documented.
Yes, I also thought, oh, hopefully where it was cut, I thought, well, maybe it's repairable. So I went down to Cavender where I had my car serviced, and no, it cost me $200, that little slit. So I was just wondering who I should try to hit up for the hole. And that's all. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the council on non-agenda items? Seeing none, Councilman Gandy,
I've got nothing this evening.
Councilman Brown,
Thank you. Mayor, I would like to give a huge shout out to our Public Works. Our Public Works has really done an amazing job cleaning up and keeping clean our Sooner walkway right around that AWACS Memorial, but all of Sooner from 44th all the way down to 29th looks amazing. They did a great job, so I'm really, really happy for them. Shout out to them. Kudos, because they really did exceed my expectations. So thank you, JD, for getting onto them. I don't know who got chewed out. No, I'm kidding, but you guys got it done. You guys got it done, and I love it. And sometimes, you know, it just does take a few phone calls, but we got it done. It looks good over there, Pam. And then again, also had an awesome time at the air show. We had a fabulous spot, I'm sure like many others in our Del City area did, but it was amazing. And we even did walk down and ride our bikes down the Sooner Walk Trail and just watched all of the cars going into Tinker. It was very, very busy. And everything was fun. It looks like everybody had a great time and we all stayed safe. So thank you to Del City.
Councilman Finch,
Already given.
Councilman Dean.
Nothing at this time.
All right. So, last Monday, I was contacted by Channel 9 and asked to speak about our vice mayor. What have you been up to, Pam? Has that been broadcast yet? It comes out tonight? Watch Channel 9 tonight. There's going to be a segment about our vice mayor, Pam Finch. That'll be interesting. The air show was a great event. Thank you to Tinker for hosting us. That's probably the best air show I've ever seen, and it came off very well. Traffic was great. The gate that I used, we went right in, went right out. It was a wonderful day. Okay. Moving along, city manager's report.
Couple of things on this one. Last Thursday was State of the City. Thank every one of you for those of you that were able to come and everyone that was able to participate. The staff did fantastic. I got to go back and listen to the reports of it. Everyone said it went very, very well, and I'm very appreciative of that. I'm hoping we can have more town hall style meetings like that in the future where we can keep up that interaction. So that is fantastic. I do want to give a personal thank you to everybody on council and all of my department heads. As you know, I lost my grandfather last week and had to be off for a full week, but I greatly appreciate everyone for the kindness, the support, and whenever we did lay him to rest, he was an Air Force veteran, and they were practicing flyovers during that time, so you couldn't have asked for anything better. Last thing I want to let you all know, Mr. Jacques, how do I pronounce? Okay, thank you. Came up to us 2 weeks ago and provided us with some documentation on grants. I want to let you know that the letter of intent for the Oklahoma City Community Foundation was submitted and accepted, so now we're moving on to the grant project for that. That will be for the Parks and Beautification Committee to redo or to enhance all of our Welcome to Del City beds. And then for the air quality grant, we are looking at what we can do with that money. I'm having to see what federal versus state requirements there are for it before we can move forward. But both of those things have been documented and have been worked on.
All right, very good. City clerk's report.
Nothing at this time.
All right. Item number 6 is consent docket. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve the following items by unanimous consent with one motion. Item A is the minutes of the June 20, 2023 regular meeting of the council. Approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the council for June 20, 2023. Item B is minutes of June 29th, the special meeting of the council. Approve the minutes of the special meeting of the council for June 29th, 2023. That would be the town hall thing Thursday night. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion, we approve items A and B as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Gandy?
Aye.
Councilman Brown? Councilman Finch?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The motion carries. Move on to item number 7, presentation, Dining in Dale City Expose for July 2023. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve or deny a presentation from the Economic Development Team on the Dining in Dale City Expose recipient for July 2023. Number 1 Barbecue and Burger. It's located at 5501 Main Street, Suite 104. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve a presentation by Number 1 Barbecue and Burger.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Finch?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Gandy?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The motion carries. Rashana, what do you got for us?
This month, the recipient for the Dining in Dale City is Number 1 Barbecue and Burger. They are new, and they opened a couple of months ago with their location on Sooner. Number 1 Barbecue is a collaboration between Quinn and Bang Pow, and they are bringing their longtime expertise and experience in restaurant industry to deliver a down-to-earth dining experience like no other. They've lived in Dale City for most of their lives, and they hold a deep affection for the community and a sincere desire to serve the neighbors in their area. With many years of culinary experience and becoming one of the first to place in a winning barbecue contest was the 2022 Music and Barbecue Festival in Choctaw, Oklahoma. And also, they placed 4th out of 40 teams in 2023 for the Highway 62 Barbecue Competition and Music Festival in Tacoma Park. They then decided that they wanted to take their expertise and all-time note of achievements and open their own restaurant. So they would serve their community. They've carefully put together a menu that reflects their genuine love of barbecue, burgers, and seafood. So they offer all three on their menu, and they have different variety of combinations. And it has like a different twist to it because it's not just like a platter with, you know, just barbecue and coleslaw, that you can have like seafood and other sides like that that are different than any barbecue restaurant I've been to or seen. They also understood the importance of offering affordable prices in this economic environment that we are living in. So Number 1 Barbecue has flavorful dishes that are prepared and carefully made every day. They smoke their own meats every day. And they take pride in providing friendly service and creating a welcoming environment to everyone in the community that reflects the warmth of the community, because they do love Dale City. It's their sincere hope that everyone would come and try to visit or try out Number 1 Barbecue, and they leave with a smile on their face because they feel like they want to accommodate the community of Dale City. And they're grateful to be able to do that with their peers. We also have a presentation, a commercial. If it works. We
Right
have
there.
a Representative Heather.
Very good.
Unfortunately, they scheduled a vacation accommodating the Monday meeting, so they are out of town. But we do have a representative here, who is Heather, and she's going to receive the award for #1 barbecue.
Do you have anything you'd like to tell us?
The video was excellent because the food actually does look like that. So
Cool.
and the food tastes really good.
And you're open till 9 o'clock.
We're open till 9 o'clock, 7
So-
days a week. We have 10:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock, 7 days a week.
So if we hurry through this meeting, we can go
Yes,
tonight.
most definitely.
And Pam's buying.
And shout out to Sabra who works there. She's amazing. Their
Oh, yeah, Sabra is-
waitress.
is
Yes,
the
she's there
waitress.
all the time. She's great.
Yes, she's
Cool.
the daytime waitress there.
We'd like to give you this proclamation. You can display it, and it's signed by Pam, who is head of our economic development, and me as the mayor.
Well, thank you so
And-
much. We greatly appreciate it.
We love the fact that you guys have come back to Dale City, I guess, or at Dale City.
Yes.
We're glad to have you here.
Well, thank you so much. We're glad to
Okay.
be here.
All right. It's when we have food, Jeff comes.
Okay.
Oh, sure. Okay, you can have barbecue now, Jeff.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out. And there's samples over here. She's been passed around. Do you have any clue when the challenge? That's fine. Okay. The beans are good too. I had some beans a little while ago. Very good.
It's always hard to follow something as good as dining in Dell City and then next up to eating.
Yeah. Sort of.
What he's gonna bring us.
Maybe he juggles or sings. We'll see. Let's move on to item number 8. I'm good. I had some of that. It's very good. Yes. Move on to item number 8, monthly update from the Chief of Police. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve receiving a monthly update from the Chief of Police or his designee. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion, we hear an update from the chief's designee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Motion carries. Sir, the floor is yours. Please state your name for the city clerk.
Austin Slayton.
So for those in the public that have not had a chance to meet, this is our new Assistant Chief of Police, and we are very happy to have you.
Is it Assistant Chief or Deputy Chief? Is that the official title?
The official, yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm going to be here on behalf of Chief Berger, who's taking a well-deserved vacation. For the month of June so far, Chief Berger's met with the CLEAT representatives, and we're hosting a BID class, which is a basic instructor development class. It helps officers learn how to instruct and teach other officers in different forms of police training methods. We're going to be hosting that next week, and thanks to the city manager, we're providing lunch for everybody in that class, which is going to be probably about 9 to 10 different agencies for 3 out of those 5 days. So that's a big thing. This is the second time we've got to host a class. So this will be a big thing for us to do. Chief Berger also attended the Metro Chiefs meeting, and what they do there is all the chiefs get together and they discuss Metro crime trends and what goes on inside the Metro, and they all compare notes on what we can do to help each other out. If you'll also notice the new graphics on our pickup trucks, we moved those graphics to 3 of the supervisors' vehicles, which were all black Ford Explorers. That gives us more visibility, because when people are seeing them in the neighborhoods, they see a black Ford Explorer, not realizing that it's an official police vehicle. So by that, it's getting our name and our brand out there, and we're able to do a lot more visibility. So people are obviously going to hopefully feel a little bit safer. 24th, we joined with all neighborhood watch groups and did a watch patrol throughout the residentials of Dale City. We wanted to make sure we showed support to our residents and to our neighborhood watch program, which has been a backbone of our police department. The 25th, Sunday, Destiny Christian held a first responder appreciation event, and we want to really thank them for that event. We sent several officers out there with different vehicles, and they had a really good time, and they treated us top notch. It was a very good deal. This last weekend, we had Tinker Air Show. If everybody got to see what happened on Saturday, there's a lot of movement behind the scenes. Our officers did one heck of a job, because you could not go north or south on Sooner Road. You could not hardly go east or from Sooner. And it was a very chaotic mess. And Major Brad Cowden took control of that, and we started directing traffic and moving people along as best as we could. They did it straight for 4.5 hours standing out there, just to get people onto the base. And it was nice to see the air show back. That was a very nice thing. We provided an ERT team, Tinker Military Police, the special, their SF group, and the Tinker Civilian Military Police out there. They asked us to provide an ERT team, emergency response team, in case of any type of extra thing that happened out there, and we were happy to do that. Our officers did a very good job. We had people up in observation posts, and we had them on the ground. And it was really neat for me to be able to watch from a distance, because they didn't realize I was there for the whole thing. But I got to watch our officers interact with the public. And they did a very good job at that. They were very cordial, didn't run anybody over with a golf cart, which is a plus. and it was very good seeing them in that role. Coming up in July, we have that basic instructor development class. We also have boots and badges for Friday the 14th, and that's going to be our blood drive. So we'd like to invite everybody. Come on out to our blood drive, and I don't know how to take blood, but I'm willing to learn. So we're going to be doing that. Briefly, the flock cameras we have. Some quick numbers at you. We've had 10 cameras functional for 35 days. In that time frame, we've recovered $223,000 of stolen property. 16 stolen vehicles. We've recovered 3 plates. We've had 1 federal arrest warrant, 263 grams of methamphetamine, and and that is a lot. We've had 54 fentanyl pills, 4 different firearms, 3 of which were NCIC stolen, and 22 felony arrests in a short amount of time. And those numbers, they seem overwhelming in a way, but what that says is that those cameras are aiding us in keeping the citizens of Dell City safe. We're trying to do our best to keep everything out that we don't need here. And that pretty much sums up what we got right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Chief, quick question. When there is a flock camera grab or somebody that you catch, do you let them know that it was because of a camera? At any point, does anybody find out, oh my gosh, it's the camera that got me?
Yep.
Yeah, it has been really, really wonderful.
All right, very good. Go on to item number 9, planning and zoning. Special use permit, PCUR 65323. We'll take these separately, items 1 and 2. Item 1 is public hearing. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve or deny holding a public hearing on the above referenced application for a special use permit. Do I hear a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to approve holding a public hearing for a special use permit.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Was that an aye? Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The motion carries. The public hearing is now open. Kelly Abel, what have you got for us? Oh, I'm sorry. 4400 VFW Drive.
An application was made by Town and Country Investments. They are the owner of the parcel, and they have applied for a specific use permit to allow the use classification of automotive sales and rentals light. No, just to clear everything up, no, they do not plan on doing car rentals. It's just used car sales.
She stole your joke.
I did. And it's in the HC Interstate Highway Commercial Zone District. Publication date was June 2nd, 2023. Notice was sent to property owners on June 2nd, 2023. There were no protests, no written protests submitted as of 6/20/2023. There were no protests during the Planning Commission meeting on June 22nd, 2023. Planning Commission passed this with a motion to approve 6-0. If the specific use permit was to be approved, it will be governed by the HC Interstate Highway Commercial Zone District, the site design requirements, commercial landscaping, and the 2015 Building Code regulation.
All right, very good. Anybody have any questions?
Yes. On the plan, on the site plan, I'm looking at basically, there's one, on the very front part, it says create a separate turnaround. It's for basically fire trucks and stuff at the end of the road. And so I want to know how they intend to turn the semi-trucks loads of used cars and get the trucks in and out of the spot.
Is there someone here to speak for this? Oh.
So what I'd seen is,
What page is that on?
it's on page 22, I think. Yeah, 22 of our side. And then I was over at Scooter's Coffee next to the neighborhood Walmart on Saturday, I believe. And I drove and I saw that the Scooters has a 18-wheeler that has to sit out on the main street and then offload their stuff and truck the stuff into the establishment. I go, you know, this is something we need to worry about semis and trying to get the cars in and out of this separate property.
I'm Buddy Caldwell, architect, 2909 Trail Ridge Drive, Norman, Oklahoma. Architect for the applicant. The turnaround, they own all the parcel north of Cherry Creek behind the Automax Hyundai dealership. And so VFW Drive has a big turnaround to the east. There was plenty of room for fire trucks and turnaround on that end of it. Yeah. Well, it'll have all new lighting, all new paving, and yes, we will have to be cognizant of lighting levels for the apartments to the west. There are no property to the north all around there, so.
He owns to VFW Drive, is that correct? Not the other side of VFW.
He owns the other side of VFW Drive.
He owns both sides. Is that where is that a mini storage? Is that what that is?
Yeah. It's old metal.
Okay. Sir, would you identify yourself, please?
Yeah.
Good stuff, isn't it?
I'm going over there.
Yeah.
I'll see y'all there.
Yeah.
A buddy's buying.
All right.
I'm John Sumner. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Automax companies and Town and Country companies. I'm the CFO over 18 different companies.
One of the things that said that you're going to move your offices to
Yes, sir.
there, and are you currently located over
4645 Tinker Diagonal.
the Tinker Diagonal, so you're moving from there on over?
Well, the plan is to transform that into a banking institution, or have a couple of different ways to go with Fairchild Financial. It's not formed yet, but it's almost there. And we'll be able to offer a low-cost vehicle to customers with a new concept of not paying 21% interest. We'll carry the note at half. Or get the name Maximum Motors. And Max has a great idea. It's kind of a revolutionary type of a buy here, pay here on an upper scale. And we've entered into some other agreements with some other people, and we've approached some officials that are interested in the concept and the idea, and hopefully it's something that we can get put together and then announce. But that's the plan for that area where customers can buy there, they can service there, they can pay there, and not have to bear the burden of front-loaded compound interest that they spend the first 2 years paying on their vehicle, and they go to trade it in and they still owe the same amount they bought it from because the banks pulled the interest out up front. So it's something we're very, very hopeful to get done, and it'll revolutionize the secondary credit market as we know it.
So the question is about lighting and turnarounds.
Mhm.
So you're going to protect the apartment complexes from
Absolutely.
light invasion?
Absolutely.
Okay,
The low valence lights.
We're working with the city.
okay.
The plan we have in place interim, because right now it's just vacated land back there. But interim, that gate is right now a breakaway, but the gate potentially would go away that's there, and that there shouldn't be a reason for, customers at midnight to drive back there, but safety vehicles, right now you can actually see it out there in the ground. We took and graded off a big turnaround back there, but since there's nothing back there, you can just go back there and cut donuts if you want to. But yeah, the idea would be it would just circle back around.
Okay.
Very short distance.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, and so just the important part is just
Sure.
make sure that your semi-truck, a car carrying semi-truck can go
Right,
and
a
turn
carrier.
around, and then
Right.
our fire trucks will be able to have no problems.
Right, yeah.
So,
I wouldn't want to turn those around.
Yeah.
Is that part of the plan? I notice now you unload on Tinker Diagonal. Are you planning on unloading on VFW Drive?
There wouldn't be, hopefully, there's no unloading in front, on the frontage road there. We don't like that. We don't like it at all. Hyundai doesn't like it at all, but their contract that they have with the carrier, they stated it in their contract that they could do that, and no, we didn't catch it, they didn't catch it, nobody caught it, and we need a little help from Kenton, they're right there. Maybe tell them to move. It's dangerous. We don't like it.
Yeah, okay.
So, but yes, it would be, everything would be unloaded. Our service department potentially with the approval would go, that's where everything would be serviced. That's where everything would be checked in, checked out. Everything's done back in the back. And then you have sales in the front and then corporate offices. And then that would enable us to transform the 4645 Tinker Diagonal into a financial institution where we could receive payments, and we'd have a cashier's cage in there where they could do banking and loans.
Right. Very good, John.
Sort of.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, Mayor.
Any further discussion? I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing portion.
Make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, got a hand back there. Wendell, come to the podium, state your name.
Wendell Kluge, 4744 Crest Place. Being a longtime resident of Del City and watching the Hyundai dealership grow and prosper, I want to speak in support of this effort because I think it would take an underutilized area and turn it into a very productive area.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Light it up, clean it up,
Yes,
it'll be
yes.
good.
Thank you.
All right. Now I will entertain a motion to close the public portion of this.
Make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Finch. Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The public portion is now closed. We'll move on to item 2 under Section A. Council action, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve with modifications, or deny the above referenced application for a specific use permit to the use of 4400 VFW Drive to to allow the use classification of automotive sales and rentals light, a used car lot in the HC Interstate Highway Commercial Zone District. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Should we clarify that we do intend on and would like to see low valence lighting as well as the turnaround at the end of VFW?
Do you want,
Okay, so we're covered there
okay.
then.
We're
So
We're not covered on the fire,
The
the
turnaround.
turnaround. We're not covered on that, because that's not part of the lot, so. Yeah. Yeah.
you want to modify your motion to include a turnaround at the end of VFW driveway? Do you guys have any aversion? Do you have anything against that? Is that all right? Yeah.
Yes, I would like to modify my motion to include a turnaround at the end of the VFW drive.
So your motion is to approve with modification, and the modification being a turnaround at the end of VFW Drive. Very good. That's the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The motion carries. Thank you for coming out. We are going over to number 1 barbecue, and Buddy's buying, right? No. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Move on to item number B, rezoning PCRZ 650-23. It's 4412 Epperly Drive. We'll take the public hearing portion first. Number 1, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve or deny holding a public hearing on the above referenced application for rezoning. Do I hear a motion to open the public hearing?
make a motion, we open the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The motion carries. The public hearing portion is now open. Kelly, what do you got for us?
Well, I'll give you a little brief synopsis here of what I have. There were three, so all three of these are one project, but they have separate case numbers because they were separate
address.
applications.
Got it.
Okay. 3 applications were submitted by David Box and Associates on behalf of the owner, Prestige Development, LLC, and SKH Capital, LLC, to rezone the parcels at 4412, 4416, and 4420 Epperly Drive to R2, two-family residential for the permitted use of multifamily duplexes. One thing I would like to clear up is the projects on all 3 of these parcels are 1 story. I know that there were lots of questions during Planning Commission about whether they were 1 or 2 story. They are 1 story only. The publication requirements were met on 6/2 of 2023. Notice was sent to the property owners on 6/2 of 2023. There were no formal written protests submitted as of 6/20/2023. There were 2 citizens who did protest during the Planning Commission meeting on June 22nd, 2023, about the permitted use of duplexes. The Planning Commission votes were as follows. For PCRZ 65023, which is 4412 Epperly, a motion was made to approve the rezone, and it failed with a 2-4 vote. PCRZ 65123, 4416 Epperly, a motion was made to deny, and it was a hung vote, 3-3. PCRZ 65223, which is 4420 Epperly, there was a motion made to deny, and the vote was 6-0. There's a full staff report that explains all the different zoning districts in your packet, and if you have any questions about any of it, I will be glad to answer.
On the initial building permit, it has approximately 5,000 square feet Is that for all three properties?
Ask one more time.
There is it says approximately 5,000 square feet. Is that for all three buildings?
Yes.
Okay. So each building would approximately be about 1,500
Roughly,
square feet?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, we are actually looking at, on item A, 4400 VFW Drive, so we're just going to take these one at a time, and we'll go through each one that way.
Okay.
So thank you for the information on the
Yep.
others, but let's stay on
On just one, on
40
4412?
44,
Okay,
yes, 4412. We're doing
Okay.
12 right now.
gotcha.
And that vote, refresh my memory, was 2-4.
A motion was made to approve the rezone on that vote, and it failed 2-4.
Failed 2-4. That's the recommendation from the planning commission.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this? I suspected as much. Please step to the podium and state your name for the clerk.
Good evening, council members. My name is Caitlin Turner. Address is 522 Colcord Drive. I'm here as a representative to the applicant. Again, as Kelly had mentioned, these are going to be one-story duplexes. The rezoning would be to straight R2, so we would have to meet or exceed all code requirements. Many of those code requirements, especially those basic restrictions, are the exact same that you would see in the zoning to the properties to the north. I'm aware that there's some problems with parking and duplexes in Del City. I want to make you all aware that each unit will have its own two-car garage as well as a driveway. So there will be no on-street parking. And again, since they're one story, they're going to be brick. They will really conform and look similar to other single-family homes in the neighborhood. I also want to point out this property, or these three lots, I should say, are on a hard corner. So they're on 44th and Epperly. Typically on the hard corners, you would see something that maybe is a little bit more increased intensity or increased density. I also want to point out that by rezoning this to R2, you're actually keeping 44th Street more consistent than otherwise. So as of right now, all the properties to the east and west are all R2 along 44th Street. There's also R2 to the northeast, and then R4 directly across the street. So in terms of compatibility with surrounding zonings that you would look at with the rezoning application, it is very compatible with the surrounding area. It is also very compatible, given there's the water treatment facility right across the street. That's a higher intensity use. So it kind of helps blend together 44th back onto Epperly. I also want to point out that it's compatible with the comprehensive plan. This allows a more diverse housing type in this area. I know that there's been a lot of discussion of the air show. I also attended on Sunday, but having a diverse housing type like this one where you're able to lease really benefits, or it can, some of those Tinker employees that have those employment contracts that are yearly or by term. So this provides that. Staff did recommend approval of this application. Again, there were no written formal protests. There were comments made at the Planning Commission hearing, namely that there's some concern about the developers not being local, which they are. They've done multiple projects in Oklahoma City and other cities surrounding Oklahoma City. There's also, of course, the desire to want to keep it single family, which I just want to emphasize again that these will conform to the single family homes in that neighborhood, especially given the restrictions that the developers have imposed upon themselves. And of course, they'll be meeting all code requirements. And then there was one comment that was made, which was a little unfortunate and maybe not quite on par for a zoning case. That was, this will bring trouble, you're in Del City. So that's just kind of another stab at, we don't want duplexes, we want single family homes. Of course, that's always unfortunate, but again, reputable developer, local, and it's compatible with the surrounding zoning and comprehensive plan. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Do you have any projected rents? Do you know what these houses may possibly rent for when they're finished?
Depending on when they're finished, it will be market rate.
What is market rate or something like that?
It's speculative, so they'll have to come back around to it in the future once they're all developed, but it's going to be kind of standard for what else would be getting leased in the area.
So they're investing money in building these houses, and they're not speculating on what the rental income will be?
Well, it'll likely be higher than it is right now with how everything's been going, but again, there's no way to know.
I was
if
just
that-
curious
yeah.
what the threshold you were shooting for.
Right, yeah. I can get a number for you if you
No,
would like.
that's all right.
but- Or a projected number, but as of right now, I don't think they've really done that analysis.
I understand.
yet.
Okay, thank you, Caitlin.
Caitlin?
Yes.
So while they were, when the neighborhood went in, there's the plat with the restrictive covenants.
Mhm.
And the covenants and restricted covenants, of course, a covenant's supposed to last forever. And in the plat, it does give a opportunity for the covenants to actually expire, but they're still in effect unless there's a release. So do you have a release to go away from the plat
We
and
have not-
restricted covenants?
We have not seen the plat or heard of the restricted covenants by.
Right,
the
so,
city or
so
the
whenever
city attorney.
everybody who's going to be the next gentleman comes up here and says, I bought my home with the knowledge that we're only going to have single-family detached things forever, because it's a covenant, unless all of my, unless 80% of my neighbors decide to change it,
Right.
then that covenant's still there. And so unless that changed, and it can change, and some covenants will expire after a certain amount of time, but this one in item 11 says that it is forever until, and it extends every 10 years. And then after that 10 years, then unless there's been a vote, it's going to still be in effect. And so as far as you know, there's not a release. And so of it, in this covenant, which by default with us being the city and the neighbors, and being the councilman for this, is we're responsible to maintain our covenants, which in turn develops our code and the code enforcement. So in this part, it says in the very first part that all the lots are hereby restricted exclusively to the use of single-family detached residence, together with a private garage for not more than 2 cars. And in the second part, only one residence may be constructed on any of the lots in said addition. So I'm not sure how Del City has made a change to the R2 to the west of it, but we'll be working on that with the comprehensive plan that we're working. But it's not, whenever we've looked at Del City, in particular the Del Air addition, the whole addition, is every neighbor, every person there realizes that there's only supposed to be a single-family dwelling house. And so with that in mind, how does the developers think that they should be able to come and apply to go and change this, besides the thought that they were on 44th Street, which they're not? So, and that's the last thing I wanted my councilman to know, is I drove down Epperly today. The next single-family house had 1 car in the driveway and 2 cars out on the street. So now there's no expectations for these houses to actually use their garages. And so with 6 more families, we could have more cars on the street. And Epperly is a very main street. It's a main street that goes, of course, as you know, all the way down to Del City High School from 44th Street. So there's a tremendous amount of traffic going down here. And if we end up with more residents right there at the exit of 44th Street, we could have traffic and possible collisions and traffic issues there.
So, Councilman for Ward 1, are we to conclude that you are against this? Is that a safe
I'm not only
assumption?
against this, but I would say that if we were to approve this, we would be jeopardizing the city into a lawsuit, because we would be changing the covenants, which is supposed to be forever, part, without the residents' consent, which it's described inside the plan.
If I may, real briefly, the zoning would be the first step. So if there's plat restrictions or conditions, covenants, and restrictions on the properties, and that's something that would be dealt with after the fact, the rezoning application is the first step, regardless of what's decided here. If the CCR say you're prohibited from doing anything other than single family, even if there was R2 zoning, we would be completely prohibited from doing anything other than single family. So this is the very first step. We would not be able to go against what the CCRs stipulate unless we were to proceed with getting that modified. And then in terms of the traffic issue, as you said, there's other single-family homes with traffic along the street. If this stayed single-family, that's also an issue. but each unit allows for 4 cars that are completely off-street. So I don't think that I mean, there will be plenty of parking off-street, and that mitigation effort is in effect, but it would be the exact same concern based on your argument for a single-family home if that were developed on these lots.
Right, but with the part that there would be half the number of families. So, let's see. My thought for this, which I would like to ask the planner, is there any reason why we might not amend the motion or amend the potential outcome of this to actually make the make the zoning R1D as it's supposed to be per the plat? Now, the reason why we're here is that we're in urban reserve. And the reason why that's there is that the Epperleys donated these lots to the city to possibly use for the water plant, which is no longer needed.
So
Now that it comes out, we have to do a zoning anyway.
let's backtrack for just a second. You're saying, can we approve it for R1?
R1. Because
You can approve with modification, but this specifically says R2. So the correct thing to do would be to deny this and then let them apply for an R1. That would be the correct procedure. Don't try to change this to an R1. Simply deny the R2. Same effect.
If you don't, like I say, I just don't, we're here, we've got all the neighbors, we've got everybody here, and the whole plan is to put it in the correct one. The correct zoning is R1.
We're getting off of the, let's stay close to it. Just if you're against the R2, then vote accordingly. If they want to come back and apply for R1, that's up to them. That's not what the ask is here. The ask is, will you approve R2? And that's going to be a yes or no. So let's stay on track with that.
R1 is a single family?
Correct.
And have any single family home developers inquired about this property at all?
Not really germane at this point. The question before the council is, will you approve R2? That's the question. So let's stay on track.
Can I hear from the resident?
Sir, state your name and address for the clerk, please.
My name is Robert Hudgens. I live at 4200 Sunnyview Drive. And this project is about two blocks from me. It is on the corner of one of the main entrances off of 44th Street into that quarter-mile section. So there's a lot of people that go in that quarter-mile section. There's 3 entrances. There's one off 41st and Sunny Lane, which goes into that quarter neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
There's also one that goes down where Wolford goes straight out to 44th right there. And there's also where it goes down, where Epperly goes down, comes down in front of the school, makes the jog there, and then around these 3 lots and off to 44th Street. And when I moved there, I've been a resident since May of 1971 here at my address of 4200 Sunnyview Drive. And on my abstract, when we went through it and approved it, it specifically, my lawyer called out, it was strictly that area of the Del Mar Hills and everything was limited to single-family homes. And I believe that's what you're describing as an R1.
Correct.
So that's why I'm objecting to the giving them the right to change this zoning to and everything to that. And as Michael has so kind of basically pointed out my whole argument here type thing of what reason why I think that you need to object to their R2. Now, if they was to go into if they go into the deal of R1, if they want to build a house there, I've also mentioned to the planning committee, which I brought out, and when I got for the second time for the planning committee, that it was I brought to the attention that it was also mentioned that when after the tornado went through there and wiped out a bunch of houses, there was nobody could rebuild until it went back before the council, and people that were on the council at that time passed a ordinance or guidance or a rule, regulation, however you will say it, that there would not be any houses built in Dell City less than 1,450 square foot. And that was because, I would also, come a sideline, my pet peeve, give me a minute here, my rant here a little bit, but in today's economy, with most people having two-car families, I think that in Dell City, the Planning Commission and through what Dean has mentioned, that we should look into the deal of very seriously with the planning and everything, that all houses should have a minimum of a double-wide driveway. Regardless of whether they have a single-car garage or not, I think they should at least have a double-wide driveway. Because like you said, in the way that people are, and the people that live in condominiums are no different. The garage will be full of bikes and trikes and whatever type things. And the cars are going to be parked in the driveway. So that's my feeling on that.
Okay.
And I appreciate that. And this is kind of my feeling on all three of these deals. And if I want to stand up and say it again, well, I'd be glad to. So thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
I have a question of Kelly. Isn't there a development that's just east of that? That's the Stonehenge development? Stonehaven. And isn't it duplexes? So it's real similar to the same situation here.
No, it's not. It is a completely bricked off, walled off from the neighborhood. And it has its own separate entrances. So when the neighborhood was put in, you have common streets that go throughout the whole thing. It's a homeowners association. It's basically could be Smith Village. But it is the same type of house, and that is a sore subject for all the people who's in Del Air that was actually allowed to go in. But that's happened.
That's a whole nother topic. Let's get back
So
on
there's
point.
one more part for this staff. This one is I believe that this is the northernmost lot. And when I looked at the northernmost lot is this house, and the house that's designed here is going to be right over the sanitary sewer. And so, what's the plans? Are we going to replace that sewer, that 60, 70-year-old sewer before we allow the house to go over the top of it, or are we going to have that sewer moved to go into the easement? But lot 48, on lot 48, the house overrides the sanitary sewer. It's the north one, the one that we're using. It's this sanitary sewer here.
4412.
If I may make a quick couple comments.
You bet.
So regarding utilities, that will all be looked at the building permit stage, and it'll be the developer's responsibility to accommodate for that sewer line, whether that is relocating it or putting it in an easement, building around it, and not developing on top of it. So that will be addressed. Again, the rezoning is the very first step. I also want to point out that I know there was mention of some kind of provision that said that dwelling unit's going to be less than 1,400 square feet or somewhere around there. I know that's not currently in the municipal code, but I do want to say that these units together, so it'll look like essentially one house, will be over that. They're going to be about 2,400 square feet each. And then I also want to point out there was another comment made about the two-car driveways and two-car garage. Each unit will have its own two-car garage and two-car driveway. So that's not one per, it's kind of like how a single-family home would be set up. And then in terms of the CCRs are actually a private matter. So the city can't enforce CCRs. That's likely why they weren't brought up during the staff report phase when professional planning looked into that. So that's going to be something that's dealt with among the private entities or property owners within the CCRs, not the cities would be removed from that process.
So you'd like us to not do our job and go ahead and defer this and then then let all of our constituents go and sue you for breaking the covenants?
Well, it's not your job to enforce the CCRs, to be fair. It's
Can
your
I
job
just
to look at
confirm
the-
Okay,
that
all right,
the
let's stay on
driveway
track.
slab, excuse me, that the driveway will have a two-car driveway? It will
Yes.
be a two-car garage and a two-car driveway.
That's
Each
correct.
duplex will be a little bit over 2,000 square feet, and it looks like some of them are 2 to 3 bedrooms, patios in the back.
That's correct.
Fenced.
Correct.
Great. Driveways.
Yes, that is all correct.
So looking at the things, it looks like the living area is 1,200 square feet. Is that correct? Because right now we're getting to these numbers where this isn't making sense. We said 5,000 for all three.
Yeah, I was confused
But maybe
by
it's
that as well.
5,000 per unit is,
That would, well, no, it's not going to be 5,000 square feet per unit. So it's approximately 1,200 square feet per unit. So it'd be about 2,400 square feet on each lot. There's 3 lots. Each unit is about 1,200
Yeah,
square feet.
it just doesn't add up to 5,000. is what
I'm
he's
not
pointing
sure
out.
where the
okay,
5,000 number came
but
in.
it's not, so it should be 1,200 feet on the left side of the duplex and 1,200 feet on the right side.
That's right.
Correct, approximately, yes.
So
yeah.
it's not a 2,000 square foot home, it is a 1,200 foot duplex.
Correct. Together, the entire would be about 2,400, correct?
And is
she's
this
talking about the
something that
structure.
will be available to buy, or is it only going to be for lease?
Well, they're going to have to be leased unless they go back in with a plotting process and get utilities to each separate unit. So in that event, they could be sold off individually, each unit, but for the time being, the intent is just to lease.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have numbers on the maybe amount of families that are looking right now for homes that are tired
That's
of
not
living
really
in
pertinent
apartments?
to
Do
what
you
we're
have
deciding.
I
a
don't
number?
have that study. That is definitely something, if this were to be continued or deferred for 2 weeks, that I could see if I could gather. I know they have a broker that's working with them on this deal, so I'm sure that's something that we would be able to provide.
Thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
Okay, is there anybody else that would like to speak on this? I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing portion.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing portion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The public hearing portion is now closed. We're going to move on to item 2, council action, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve with modifications, or deny the above referenced application to rezone the parcel at 4412 Epperly Drive to R2 two-family residential to permit the use of multifamily duplexes. Do I hear a motion?
Make
make
a
a
motion
motion.
that we
One at a
deny.
time. Go
I
ahead.
make a motion that we deny PC 6, actually
4412 Epperly.
4412 Epperly Drive.
Motion is to deny. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I have a question before I second, if that's appropriate at this time. So, in the,
I'd like to make a motion that we approve. Can we do
One
that?
at a time? One at a time.
so in the, so we could go ahead and zone as R2, two-family, with a modification that only a single family dwelling be placed on that piece
No.
of property?
No.
Not a possibility,
No.
just making sure.
You accept R2 or decline R2. I'm waiting for a second.
Make a motion that we approve.
We have to finish this motion. Please wait. He's got his hand on the button, and I'll make that determination, Claudia.
Just give me a couple of seconds.
He wants a couple of seconds. Thank you.
This is the one that was a 4-2 denial on planning commission, correct?
No, it was,
On this one, a motion was made to approve the rezone and it failed 2-4. 4 against, correct.
I'm going to have to second this.
we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion before we vote?
Yes. So again, your planning commission, who has listened through this and went through much longer discussions and thoughts about this, voted to deny it.
4-2.
And after this, and they went to the next one, more and more people denied, till the final parts of the votes. So,
Okay.
no, it wasn't. So,
Now then, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Let's take the vote. Councilman Dean.
aye, to deny.
Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
No.
Councilman Finch.
No.
The mayor votes aye. The motion is denied. Item number C, rezoning PC RZ 651. There's a correction on the agenda item, and the correction is the number PC RZ 651-23. We will take these as separate items. First one is public hearing, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve or deny holding a public hearing on the above referenced application for rezoning. Do I hear a motion to open the public hearing portion?
Make a motion, we open the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The public hearing portion is now open. Kelly, what do you got for us? Come on down.
It's the same as before.
Okay.
Everything's, well, okay, I shouldn't say everything. 4412 and 4416 it's the same question. They're asking to rezone it. Those duplexes are the same building standard, same site design requirements. The only one that's different is 4420, and I'll wait till we get there.
I understand. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on 4416 Epperly Drive? Yes, ma'am. Caitlin, come up and state your name.
Caitlin Turner, 522 Colcord Drive. Again, on behalf of the applicant, I won't give my whole same presentation. Same application.
Anything
same
different
kind
on
of
this?
development. I just want to point out that there was a lot of back and forth at Planning Commission. I know that there is a tendency to want to defer to commissioners. I will point out that it was a commissioner that had stated that this will bring trouble. You're in Del City. You also have a professional planning staff that has recommended approval of this application, has also gone through all those steps and all of that research, and has determined that this is compatible with the surrounding area. It is compatible with the comprehensive plan, and it would be beneficial for the city of Del City. So I would be happy to answer any questions on this item. Again, exact same, so thank you.
All right.
And I wanted to bring up two additional things. So one is compatible with the surrounding areas. Have we found who and what time it was approved to change to R2 the lots along 44th Street? Because we keep using this as an example, but we are, as far as we have found, or go ahead, Ms.
No, I will look for it.
But
As far as I know,
That was the original intention of that area. It was supposed to be senior citizens' dwellings. That was the original intention. And it was low-maintenance, single-dwelling, single-occupant homes. And that was the way it was sold to the council. After they couldn't fill it, they petitioned and somehow got it changed and opened it to people that were not seniors. That's just a brief history, and that's, we don't want to get off topic
no,
here.
this is not for that spot. That spot, Stonehenge, I believe is what it's called. That's not that one. It's the R2 that's on the west side, Yes.
Patio homes?
Because normally you do this whenever you actually try to change something or do this. But yeah, none of the homes have changed. None of them are duplexes.
Let's,
Okay. And then
All
the
right.
second thing that, right.
Yep.
Okay, and then the second thing I wanted to bring up is in the readings, it was about that we can bring and try to offer more housing. You can't do, adding 3 additional residences to the spot is not.
to 8,000.
To 8,000 is not going to make a difference. The difference is that we have a large landmass that we're looking at getting developed, and hopefully it will. That's where you can do the duplexes, the different things. You can change this then to a new housing addition. But to go and change it with the old one is not fair to the residents.
Are there any new arguments? Robert, if you have a new argument, you're welcome to bring it. State your name for the clerk.
My name is Robert Hudgens, and I live at 4200 Sunview Drive. There is one argument that I will bring forward in this deal.
All right.
Before this council, and I believe it was most of you that were here, there's been a couple of changes, but on what we call the gingerbread houses,
Yes, sir.
there's an ordinance passed back then to take, and for the houses that was to be built in that area to remain if they were built, like somebody's house burnt down, they were to be built back to look like a gingerbread house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm asking you as an argument to do the same thing right here, to leave that area in to be the same type houses that are there, that are around it, that are across the street from it, next door to it. And I totally agree, and I have kids that live in duplexes. And the difference between them duplexes is a 2x6 wall. And all the kitchen cabinets, and the kids have told me that they dislike it because when the neighbors next door close their cabinet doors, it just echoes right across through their kitchen in their living rooms and that type of thing. And so as far as duplexes goes, why, I'm back to putting 6 families on what should be 3 lots.
What is
And it should
the
be
average
just
size
3
home in
families.
that addition?
Pardon me?
What's the average size for square footage? What's the average size home in that addition?
Well, my
How big is your
home,
house, Michael?
my home is one of the smaller ones. I mean, well, in the Del Mar addition. And I have a 1,000 square foot house, single car garage. And so now the larger ones that they go up a little bit further than that. Now the one across the street from me and everything was one of the kind of the larger ones there in that addition, and I believe it runs up to 1,250 square foot or so. It was a 3-bedroom home, but the catch is they were larger bedrooms.
So
And
to go on with your question the Del Mar addition was meant to have a nice, a reasonable size home.
Between 1,000 and 1,200?
With plenty of yard space on it. In fact, there is, the yard coverage is also mentioned in the covenants. So they were intentionally trying to have larger yards, smaller houses.
It is made for somebody to move into and be able to raise a family, and for them to go to the nearby school there at Townsend. So
Robert, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and since we are speaking on that, I was also raised in a duplex. I had a yard. We loved it, and even though at the time we were not able to afford a home, but we were actually able to stay in a duplex instead of a apartment, which was even more loud if you stay on the bottom floor. So just since we're talking history, yes, I was also raised in a duplex and enjoyed it very much.
Okay, back on point.
We were good people.
Back on point. Are there any new arguments anybody would like to put forward?
I'll just make one more very quick comment, considering this is the second to last application. Again, these units are, as now pointed out, more so compatible with the other dwelling units in the neighborhood. I also will point out that I think there was mention that maybe we shouldn't rezone in existing neighborhoods. It should be in undeveloped areas, but it is a property right to be able to go forward through this municipal entitlement process. And again, it's not the city's job or place to enforce CCRs. Again, this is the very first step. And if this rezoning goes through, if the CCRs prohibit something, they're not going to be able to do it without making some kind of effort with the surrounding areas or surrounding neighbors, excuse me. If that's not the case, single-family homes are permitted under R2 zoning. So I just wanted to throw that out there one last time.
Will it be a full brick home?
Yes.
All brick?
All brick.
And are you also doing the landscaping there as well? Kind of the picture that you have here in our packets, is that
That is
you'll
correct.
actually extend the landscaping and add that as well?
Correct. And the
Front
ordinance.
and back?
Yes. Well, definitely the front.
Yeah.
And then whatever ordinance requirements are in place for landscaping, we'll have to comply with, as this is a straight rezoning application.
And the fences, are they going to be panel fences?
6 to 8
wood?
foot privacy
Okay.
fences, wooden privacy fence,
Okay.
just like a standard family home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was part of the parcel. This was a single parcel, correct, that we sold initially, or was this, are these,
3 single parcels.
so these were 3 singles. We sold them, what, this was about a year ago that we sold them,
Right.
right? Okay, so this was part of our land sale at that point.
All right,
Just
everybody
thinking.
good?
Yeah, so we sold 3 separate lots.
So, seeing no one else that is stepping up to the microphone, I would entertain a motion to close the public portion.
Make a motion, we close the public portion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
One quick question. Sorry, I know. I just want to get things out there before we move
That's
into
what
the
the
vote.
discussion for.
I know, I just
Think faster.
think faster. I didn't drink enough caffeine. So I just need to know, and this is going to go into the next item, the difference between 4416 and 4420 before we vote on this.
Land size.
So it's strictly the
size.
piece of
Lot
property.
size.
Okay.
40,
sorry.
well, I was just going to chime in here. The lot size is what's different, and 4420 is also on a main thoroughway, so the setbacks are different. You have to be set back farther from the curb, and so all that will be allowed on that parcel is going to be a single-family residence anyways, because of the size, the square footage.
Thought that was the case. Just wanted clarification.
All good?
Yes.
Any further discussion? This is the motion to close the public portion of the hearing. We have a motion and a second. Let's take the vote. Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The public portion is now closed. Item number 2, council action. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve with modifications, or deny the above referenced application to rezone the parcel at 4416 Epperly Drive to R2 two-family residential to permit the use of multifamily duplexes. Do I hear a motion?
A motion that we deny 4416 Epperly Drive for the application to rezone the parcel.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? One last time, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Councilman Dean, would you withdraw your motion? You have no second.
I would, except we're going to end up with a strange neighborhood right now.
It's going to die on the
I'll-
floor if you don't. It's going to die anyway. It'll time out.
It will time out. When,
Want to
do you know
drag
when
that?
it,
Do you want to drag us
do you
out?
know when it drags out? What-
Yeah, I
what-
do.
What,
You-
I wish, yeah, that's why I was looking first.
You-
I'll withdraw the motion.
We now no longer have a motion. I will entertain a motion on item 2. I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Nay.
Councilman Gandy.
I'm not trying to play games. This really is a frustrating decision for me to make. And so I understand both sides of it. I know how it was voted on in the Planning Commission. I don't think that, just as Ms. Brown said, that we're going to have, if we were to have duplexes, it's not going to bring in the wrong type of person.
We're going to address that. Your vote, sir.
I'm going to vote yay.
Mayor votes no. The motion passes. You got that, Joe? 3-2, the motion passes. All right. Item number D, rezoning, PCRZ 65223, 4420 Epperly Drive. There's a little bit of a distinguish about this, but we're going to go through the public hearing section. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve or deny holding a public hearing on the above referenced application for rezoning. Do I hear a motion to hold a public hearing?
Make a motion, we open the hearing.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The public portion of the hearing is now open. I understand there are some circumstances on this one. Kelly, what do you got for us? Al, you okay?
We pause? No.
No, we don't
Okay.
pause.
Okay. So the only difference on this one is because it does sit on a corner, the setback lines are different.
Gotcha.
So the structure that they put on there will have to be a certain size.
So by ordinance, it has to be
Yes,
residential 1, R1.
yes.
So if we voted R2, it would be against our own ordinance.
Well, in R2, single-family residence is allowed.
I understand.
And that's because of the site design requirements of that zone district. A single-family residence, that's all that can go there.
Okay, any questions, anybody?
I just want to bring, these are new homes. They're bricked. They have 2-car garages. They have 2-car driveways. They have a fenced-in yard. It's new properties that are coming into our area. I don't understand why we are having such difficulty passing something that's a positive for our community.
The reason why is that if you put in, the normal thing that you should put here is a single-family detached garage. But hear me out. The difference is that you put the single-family detached garage, the appraisals for all the houses out there go and they look at single-family attached garages, and they go and see this, and you see that you've got 3 new homes here, and that those values are up. You got this part, things go up. When you go and you put down that you now have an R2 next to you, that is a detriment to your part, and it doesn't get to be counted to your
I disagree.
for the
I disagree.
for the
Well, that's
appraisal.
not the debate, though.
But for the appraisal part, that's the next part about why you don't allow different housing to be in the same neighborhood.
Have you drive through my ward? I mean,
What now?
there's a brand-new house sitting right next to something that's been built for 60 years.
Right, but it's the same house. It's the same type of house. Where are you talking? On Dale Road. Well, again, gets back to what we're supposed to be doing as a city. If you're concerned about this, the city was supposed to stop this, or hopefully, but depending upon what you have, you can or can't do it. So for here, we are now we're now allowing to have a different style home in the same, with the whole neighborhood and the whole people.
Let's get back on point here. Let's
So-
get back on
so
point.
one last part,
This
Mayor,
public
just-
hearing is about 4420 Epperly Drive. That's what we're going to
And-
talk about, is 4420 Epperly Drive.
And so the last part, again, going back to, is the reason why you don't do this and you have this different question here is that your home value could be negatively affected compared to if we went with the original intent.
Okay, stay on point. The discussion is 4420 Epperly Drive. The Kelly has told us that the lot size restricts what can be put there because of the setback.
But it is an R1 already, so
No, it's urban reserve.
And one of the uses permitted by right in urban reserve is a single-family detached garage dwelling.
Detached garage or attached?
Detached.
Oh, okay. So they could build a detached garage then?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yep.
I don't think they care. Okay, anything else about this? Is there any more discussion? I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing portion.
Make a motion to close the hearing.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The public portion is now closed. We move on to item 2 under section D, council action. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve with modifications, or deny the above referenced application to rezone the parcel at 4420 Epperly Drive to R2, two-family residential, to permit the use of multifamily duplexes. I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion we approve as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Let's take the vote. Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Nay.
Mayor votes no. The motion carries. All right. Move on to item number 10, discussion only. Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group, OMAG, membership. Is there anyone here representing OMAG? We're going to get some data from Brittany, and do we have any data? Let's table this until the next meeting. What is the date of the next meeting? 17th? Is it the 17th? I would entertain a motion to table this until July 17th.
Make a motion we table item 10 until the 17th.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. This item number 10 is now tabled until July 17th. We'll do that as a correction. All right. Move on to item number 11, conditional development agreement. We're going to strike the purchase and sale agreement. That is a correction to the agenda. Strike the purchase and sale agreement, and it only reads conditional development agreement. You got to buy lunch tomorrow. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve with modifications or deny, entering into a conditional development agreement with Pristine Hospitality LLC for the construction of a town place suite in the TIF District Number 1. Authorize mayor to endorse same. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve as written, authorize mayor to endorse same.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If they want discussion, why don't you go ahead and give them the particulars? Do the 10,000 foot.
Just a quick overview, because you'll see this again.
Any questions? Let's take the vote. Councilman Finch?
Aye.
Councilman Gandy?
Aye.
Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The motion carries. Rather than going to item 12, I will entertain a motion to recess to the Dale City Municipal Services Authority.
Make a motion to recess to DC MSA.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Gandy?
Aye.
Councilman Finch?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. We are now recessed to the Dale City Municipal Services Authority. I call to order the Municipal Services Authority. Joe, would you call the roll?
Trustee Dean. Trustee Finch. Trustee Brown. Trustee Gandy. And Chairperson Eason.
Chairperson is here. Okay, I don't know why that was funny. Item number 4 is the manager's report. Item number 5, consent docket. Discussion, consideration, possible action approved with the following items by unanimous consent with one motion. Item A is the minutes of June 20, 2023, regular meeting of DCMSA. Approve the minutes of the regular meeting of DCMSA for June 20, 2023. Item B is a budget amendment. Approve a budget amendment for fiscal year 2022-2023 as shown in Exhibit A to the DCMSA agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion we approve items A and B as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Trustee Gandy.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Finch.
Aye.
Trustee Dean.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Item number 6, discussion only. Project update on AMI water meters. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve or deny holding the discussion only regarding the update on the upcoming AMI water meter project. Is there anyone to give? Oh, you're going to do it? Okay, very good. I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion we open the discussion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Take the vote. Trustee Gandy.
Aye.
Trustee Finch.
Aye.
Trustee Dean.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion carries. City Manager, what do you got?
Super quick, but just want to let everyone know that Brittany and team has worked very hard on this. Every one of the neighborhood watches have been alerted to what is going on, so I really do appreciate that work that's happened. We now have the website up and running, the actual web page that we're working on, so people can come in with the frequently asked questions. That is now up and running, and we are going to start releasing everything in the water bills here in the coming days. So you should start seeing those items pop up either on your bill or as a separate insert, depending on cost, of course. We're trying to analyze both of those, but just want to let everyone know the process is coming. It is still set to start mid-July. Joe, is that correct? Everything is still on point to continue.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So everything is still on the way, and we'll keep you all posted every step of the way.
Brittany does a really good presentation on that, but don't tell her I said that. Thank you. Any further trust input?
Make a motion, we adjourn to the Del City Economic Development Authority.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Take the vote. Trustee Dean.
Aye.
Trustee Gandy.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee French.
Aye.
Yeah, slip. Sorry. Chair votes aye. We are now adjourned to the Del City Economic Development Authority. There you are, Pam.
This is the Del City Economic Development Authority. Joe, will you please call roll?
Trustee Dean,
Here.
Trustee Brown,
Here.
Trustee Gandy,
Here.
Trustee Eason,
Here.
and Chairwoman Finch.
Item 4, minutes, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve minutes of the regular meeting of the DCEDA of June 20th, 2023.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Discussion? Vote. Trustee Gandy.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Eason.
Aye.
Trustee Dean.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion passes. Item 5, purchase and sale agreement, Northeast 10th and Sunny Lane Road. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve with modifications, or deny entering into a purchase and a sale agreement with Van Eaton Concrete for the real property located at Sunny Lane at Northeast 10th Street in the amount of $2.5 million. Authorized trust chair to endorse same.
Make a motion that we approve entering into a purchase and sale agreement, Van Eaton Concrete, for real property located at Sunny Lane Road and Northeast 10th Street in the amount of $2.5 million. Authorized trust chair to endorse same.
Second.
Discussion? All right, take a vote. Trustee Dean?
Aye.
Trustee Gandy?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Eason?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Item 6, conditional development agreement. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve with modifications, or deny entering into a conditional development agreement with Pristine Hospitality LLC for the construction of a town place suites in TIF District Number 1. Authorized chair to endorse same.
Make a motion that we enter into a conditional development agreement with Pristine Hospitality LLC for the construction of a town place suites in TIF District 1. Authorized trust chair to endorse same.
Second.
Discussion?
JD, can we ask that they have flop cameras?
Yes, ma'am, that is actually built into the conditional development agreement.
Excellent.
Discussion? Take a vote. Trustee Gandy?
Aye.
Trustee Eason?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Dean?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Do I have any other trust input?
Make a motion, we adjourn to the Del City City Council.
Second.
Vote. Trustee Gandy?
Aye.
Trustee Dean?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Eason?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We are now adjourned.
We now resume the Del City City Council meeting. We are at item number 12, executive session. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve or recessing to executive session pursuant to the Oklahoma Meeting Act 25 OS 301 for the purpose of the following. Item A is discussion concerning confidential matters pertaining to pending investigations, claims, and actions pursuant to 25 OS 307B4, as the council, on the advice of its attorney, has determined that disclosure will seriously impair the ability of the council to process the claim or conduct a pending investigation or litigation in the public interest. Item B is discussion concerning employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation regarding the acting city manager or appointing a city manager pursuant to 25 OS 307B1. Item C is discussion concerning the employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation regarding hiring an interim city attorney. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion, we go to executive sessions for item A, B, and C.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Gandy.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Finch. Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. We are now recessed to executive session.